Good afternoon, everybody. This is Mr. Verzat, and today we're going to talk about light source and how you know where your shadow goes on a form. So when I think about where my shadow goes on a form, I need to know, first of all, where my light source is. So what I like to do is represent that through, this really cruddy looking light bulb that I drew on the computer here. So you could use a circle, you can use whatever you want. Just for some of our assignments it requires that you show where the light source is. So whether it's big or small, just have something there so that I can know where it's at. So when thinking about where your shadows are at, I should first tell you what shadows are made of. And in art, a shadow is composed of three pieces. The first is known as the highlight, or HL, abbreviated. The highlight is where the light would directly hit onto a form, and that means that there's no color there, there's no shadow there, there's nothing there. It'd be white. So that's where the light hits and burns everything out. So that's where the light directly hits. So that's what a highlight is. Your next piece, piece number 2, is what we in art call the midtone. Midtone is the true color in natural light of a form. Or if that colored object were, say, taken as a black and white photograph, that would be the true color of gray that it would be in natural light. So, even though, let me just talk a little bit about one other thing. In art, shading, beginning artists think that the shadow is the only thing they add. Well, believe it or not, the midtone, you have to add that in there also, and which usually just looks gray. So we'll get into that a little bit later. The third and final piece is called the shade, or the shadow. And the shadow is where there's absence of light. That's where you would do the majority of your darkest work at. So how do you know where these go? Well, the highlight is where the light is directly hitting the form. The midtone would be on the planes adjacent to it. Now, a plane is an area of the surface of your form, and adjacent just means next to it. Okay? So, and moving right along, a shadow is the area where there's the least amount of light, so naturally, it's on the side that's on the opposite side of the light. Okay? Easy as that. Opposite side of the light. Okay? And then midtone right over here is the planes that are next to the shadow and next to the highlight. And the highlight is where the light's directly hitting. So let's get right into it. And let's look at this cube and see about finding out where the highlight, midtone, and shade would go on this. Okay, so we've got our light bulb here. Let's imagine that our light bulb is hovering directly above this cube. Okay, it's not off in the distance, it's not between us and the cube, it's just directly above. Okay, so what I like to do is when I'm drawing, and you don't have to do this every time, maybe just as if you've never done this before, this beginning step, you just kind of make a dotted line from your light source to the outermost edges of your form. Okay, so that helps you know what parts are having direct light hit on them. Okay, so this is directly above like a spotlight. It's shining directly down on this cube. So first of all, let's find out where our highlight's at. Well, it's the spot that's being directly hit. So this will be our highlight right up here. All right. The midtone is the area that's next to the highlights. Okay, so that leads us to believe that these two planes right here that we can see, those are midtones. Now, why aren't they shadows? Well, because they're not on the opposite side of where the light's hitting. They're on the side that's adjacent to it. All right? So I'm just going to go in here and make my brush a little bigger and shade this in gray. All right. So where's the shade at? Where's the shadow? Well, we can't see it. It's on the part of this cube that's resting on the ground. So part of your assignment would be to show me a shade, even if there's not a side that's on there. So what you do for the teacher is basically get in there and darken the bottom line of your cube. Okay, that shows me that you understand the concept. Now I'm drawing on a computer here on a tablet, and it's a little bit sloppy, but keep your work clean. Just if I'm doing this on camera here, I'm just trying to get the concept across, but keep your work clean. So we've got a nice dark area down here, and 2 midtones and a highlight. Alright? Let's change our light source and see what happens when the light goes to a different area. Alright. So, what if our light source happened to be smack dab beside our cube? Alright? And let's say that our light source is between us and the cube, meaning it is closer to us. So that means part of this cube is going to be hit with in some pretty weird spots. So I'm just going to draw a little shadow here just to show where that bulb would be in reflection to us. So it would be hovering right over here on this spot. So it's between us and the cube. Alright, so we're still going to do the exact same thing. Let's connect those dots to the outermost points of our form. Okay? And the light is heading in there. Alright, so what parts are being hit? Well, that would be this plane right here. That would be our highlight. It's directly hit by the bulb. Alright, so what about this top area right here? Well, the light bulb is actually below the plane, this plane of the cube. If we were to connect a little line right here, then this bulb would be beneath it, which tells us that the light's not hitting it. So this would be midtone. Alright. Also, why is it midtone? Well, it's because it's adjacent to the highlight. Alright. This side, midtone again. So where is the shadow? Well, the shadow would be on the opposite side of the light, which would be this back plane here that we can't see, and also this part that's resting on the ground. So I'm going to go in here and just fill this in solid gray. I'll leave one part alone. And voila! There we go. Let's get a cube in here where we can actually see where the shade is. Alright? So let's imagine that this light bulb is over here, and the cube is between us and the light bulb. Alright? So let's show a little shadow in here just to show, kind of give an idea of where it's at. So this is a large bulb, it's hovering off in the distance, and there's the shadow that it's casting on the ground. Okay? So once again, let's draw our dots to the outermost edges of our form. Okay, light's coming this way, and it's going to hit smack dab on the side of the cube that we cannot see. Alright, it's obscured by us. Okay, now that means that this side is going to be midtone, this side is going to be midtone, this side is going to be shade. So where's the highlight? Well, we can't see it. It's the side of the cube that's obscured. So I'm going to go in here and color in my midtone areas. And then add my shade. Alright.